It's now my opportunity to briefly share with you some of my thoughts regarding this year. As I surveyed the time that has elapsed since my last address from this lectern, I was struck really by the sheer volume and array of successes that our young men have accumulated. In the academic realm, our NCA results published at the start of this year saw us securing our best collective NCA returns, highlighted by 83 excellent certificate endorsements, 137 merit certificate endorsements, and 21 scholarships. And as David has already alluded to, the latter was our best return ever and placed us at the top of the table in Otago, a position we're certainly intending to replicate this year and beyond. Complementing these top-end results were our pass rates, which were all comfortably in excess of 90% at levels 1, 2 and 3, placing us in the end second amongst state boys' schools in the country. The data really does tell the story. Every boy's needs are catered for regardless of his ability, and as much as possible, every student passion is both accommodated and encouraged. Add to this data the 300 students in the junior school who cross the stage each term for exceeding the personal excellence threshold for their weekly notes, and supplement that with the 258 junior students who have joined me for morning tea in my office in recognition of 5 or more merit referrals in a term, and you do start to get a sense of the effort our young men are exerting in the classroom. On the sports field, our boys have excelled like never before. Individually, there were 24 national representative or national title holders in 2016. Collectively, our teams were nationally competitive. The 4x100, 4x400 relay teams won their respective national titles. Surfing team finished second in New Zealand. Small ball third in New Zealand. Touch sixth in New Zealand. Hockey was 7th, and football and basketball placed inside the top 25 at their respective national tournaments. In the cultural arena, we had 2 national gold guitar winners, competitors at the National Rock Quest Finals. Hawaka Katuia represented Otago at the National Kapahaka competition, and our theatre sports team secured second place in the South Island. Simply remarkable. I spent some time, and justifiably I think, reflecting on our young men's accomplishments. And my reflections and my thoughts elicited 2 distinct responses. The first really is probably not that surprising, and that was gratification. It really is rewarding to be able to share in the successes of our young men and contribute a small part to their development and progression. Their success, honestly, is one of the key factors that motivates me in my work every day. The second feeling was perhaps a little less anticipated, but equally as powerful, and that was vindication. As I absorb what our young men have achieved this year, I recalled 2 conversations. And those conversations really have also served in part to motivate me over the past decade. I still recollect with clarity the second day I arrived in Dunedin 16 years ago. I was engaging in a casual conversation, and the man I was conversing with asked me why I'd come to Dunedin. I explained that I'd taken up a post teaching at King's. He then proceeded to visibly screw up his face and said words about our school that actually don't warrant repeating. And I remember thinking at the time, I wonder what I've got myself in for. It's pretty hard to screw up your face at the outcomes I've just outlined moments ago, isn't it? And it's equally as difficult to screw up your face at the young men who sit in front of me tonight, with whom I rub shoulders and exchange pleasantries every day. Vindication. The second conversation was with another teaching professional, actually a good friend of mine whose opinion I usually valued. After I'd been rector at King's for just over a year, I went out for a coffee with him. Actually, he had coffee, I had Pepsi Max. And that won't be any surprise to the boys. He said to me, "Dan, why are you thrashing yourself in this job? You'll never make King's into a school that's as good as," and he went on to list several other boys' schools with whom I'd previously had an association. And initially, I have to be honest, that conversation irritated me. And such is my nature, I openly expressed that irritation. But I want you to know I'm not irritated anymore, just vindicated. I've realised he was actually right. We haven't made King's as good as those other schools. To my mind, it's better. So I reflected on 2016 with a sense of gratification and vindication, on great returns in the classroom, great results in the sporting arena, and great talent on the stage. My time for reflection is usually later in the evening, when all of the school traffic of the day has dispersed. I like to close my door and in the quietness, just think. And on one evening as I was reflecting on 2016, my attention was drawn to the title of a book that sits on the bench in my office. The author is Jim Collins, very good book, simply titled Good to Great. Great returns in the classroom, great results in the sporting arena, great talent on the stage. And I started pondering a very simple question. Does all this make King's a great school? I think the answer to that question is, it depends. It depends on what you think really matters. I find in my life it's very easy to get distracted by the things that are peripheral and inconsequential. It's easy to lose sight of what really matters, and I suspect I'm not alone. If I'm to be completely transparent with you, I think for a time this year, in the midst of the wars with the Ministry of Education, in the skirmishes for enrolments, and in the fight to manage the ever-increasing compliance measures that are thrust upon me, I started to lose sight of what really matters. And so it was, I found myself in that state, sitting in a school gymnasium in North America on a Sunday evening in July, surrounded by 600 other educators from around the world, and to be honest, my head was spinning. I sat there on a hard wooden pew, a pew that really was symbolic of the condition of my heart, I think, contemplating how to combat this enrolment scheme that had been forced upon us, how to market our school to ensure we effectively conveyed to prospective parents and their sons what the King's experience entailed, and trying to prioritise all the administrative tasks, both menial and essential, that I had to attend to, and my head kept spinning. The assembled group that I was a part of were called to attention by the conference organiser, who introduced to us the keynote speaker. And to the lectern walked a striking young woman in her mid-30s, and her name was Amanda Lindhout. She started speaking, and my head stopped spinning, and I started listening. She explained that she was a freelance journalist who decided to head to Mogadishu in Somalia to write an article about the inhumane living conditions in the many camps that housed displaced Somalis. On her fourth day there, she was abducted, and she was held captive for 15 months, until the $1 million ransom that had been demanded was raised and paid by her family. I spent the first 30 minutes of her address trying to hold back the tears, as she shared with us some of the atrocities that she was subjected to. After 30 minutes, I surrendered to the tears, and I let them roll liberally down my face as her story unfolded and the darkness descended. And through the gloom of the circumstances, she spoke of grace and forgiveness, when the only emotions I could muster and imagine were anger and bitterness. And she reached into me and affected me. Having walked us through the horror of her ordeal, she reserved perhaps her most poignant point for her final words. She locked eyes with us, and she quietly concluded by telling us that her captors, those who had violated her world, were young men aged between 13 and 18. Her final remark to that group of 600 boys' schools leaders was, "This is why what you do is so important. You have the opportunity to teach young men how they ought to conduct themselves, so that instead of inflicting hurt, they can instill love." Amanda Lindhout, in that short hour, rested me from my stupor and helped me to see with clarity what I had allowed to become obscure. I remembered why I wanted to be a leader. I remembered why I got into education. I remembered what really matters, at least what really matters to me. Education is about the head. It's about great returns in the classroom. There is no denying that. Education is about the hands. It's about great results in the sporting arena. It's about great talent on the stage. But I believe, most importantly, education is about the heart. It's about reaching the hearts of our young men to reinforce the positive values that have been ingrained in their upbringing, and in the absence of such values to deposit and instill them. Why? So the young men who leave us will instill love rather than inflict hurt. So is King's a great school? You'll have your opinion, and I have mine. And each of us are entitled to those. What I know is that we'll make our judgment based on what really matters to us. For some of you, the most important ingredient will be the number of credits your son accumulates and the nature of those credits, whether they are merit or excellence. For those of you for whom that is true, it's about the head. For some of you, it will be about the sporting opportunities that are available in your son's sporting prowess, while for others it may be dictated by the array of cultural activities and coaching. For you, it's about the hands. For me, a great school will excel in those things that pertain to the head. It will train young men to succeed with their hands, but it will rise and fall on what it does with their hearts. Because in the end, that is what really matters. My assessment is this: we are on the path from good to great. But it is clear to me there is still some ground to cover. It's a path we'll continue to walk together. Together we must continue to remember what really matters. And I have to tell you, I am thankful that Amanda Linhout helped me remember. My job is not just all about the head. It's not just all about the hands. But most importantly, it's about our boys' hearts. "2016 is a good year. I'm hoping 2017 can be a great one." I think that's enough heaviness. Thank you for listening to my contemplation and reflection. And I'm hoping that together we continue to manufacture young men with great hearts, because that'll make our world a better place. Right, let's get back on with the celebration, shall we?